Hello, I'm the Dark Master, and welcome back to my LEGO reviews. In today's video, we should be reviewing set number 71791, Zane's Dragon Power Spinjitzu race car from the LEGO Ninjago theme, specifically the Dragons Rising Season 1 Wave sub-theme, released on June 1st, 2023 in the US. It comes with 4 minifigures, 302 pieces in 4 bags, and a sticker sheet. As always, let us start with those figures. So in terms of minifigures, there is Merge Zane, Merge Cole, an Imperium Guard Commander, and a Claw Hunter. Starting with the first of the two ninja, Merge Zane, on top of him we see that he has a new ninja hood piece in white. It's good to see it in a very utilitarian color like that, and has good shaping that captures the fabric aesthetic. Going further down to get a look at his silver head, it is a great color to reflect his robotic nature. The front print is a stoic face with lots of robotic-like markings, and the second face has a visor with some ice patterns around it, and an angry yell. Overall, both sides look good, both with the armor and without it. Going down from that, we see the Merge armor piece, which I've said before I'm not the greatest fan of, as it comes off as too bulky for a ninja. It can hold 2 golden katanas though, and seeing it in white is neat, as getting pieces in more colors is always great. Continuing down to the torso, it has a lot of white ninja wraps with cyan markings and golden details. The back print has a really neat logo of a horse dragon in gold that's surrounded by some really beautiful ice growths out of it. And it's kind of a shame that it's covered up by the armor piece for the most part. The arms are in a utilitarian white color and has light gray hands. Perfectly fine, but nothing special here. Going down to the legs, we see they have these cyan knee pads with a light gray belt. Pretty good, and it's molded in white, so it's overall consistent with the rest of the minifigure. For weaponry, he wields 2 golden katanas. Nothing new, but perfectly utilitarian. Overall, a great figure and a nice reimagining of Zane, who's always nice to see. Now let us go on to the second ninja, Merge Cole. Starting with the head, we have that nice ninja hood piece in black, which I like, and is probably the most expected color you'd see a ninja-related LEGO piece in, so that's good. Going down to the head, his first face has a bushy set of eyebrows introduced in the LEGO Ninjago movie, and a confident grin. His alternative face has a visor with yellowish eyes and a rocky pattern, though instead of making it brown, they seem to have made it a reddish maroon. Overall, it's a great face print that has 2 sides that work great both with armor and without it. Oh, and yeah, and that alternate face has a very determined scowl. Going down to the armor, it's the same piece as the last one, and while I personally don't like how bulky it is, it's in black now, so that's arguably the most useful of all colors to get something in, and can hold 2 golden katanas, so it's alright. Continuing down to the torso, he has your typical black ninja robes with a dash of orange on them. It's good printing, even if it's a bit generic in terms of ninja design, but the back print, for once, is actually, I think, the better of the two, as you see a golden source dragon logo surrounded by a print that invokes lava, and it's a real shame that the armor covers it up, because I think it genuinely looks pretty good. Going down to his arms, they are black, as are his hands, which is perhaps the most utilitarian and bog-standard color you get for a ninja. His legs are black, with some really good printing on the knees and a dark gray belt. For weaponry, he too wields 2 golden katanas. which are not astoundingly notable, but they're fine enough to always get more of those. Moving on to the bad guys, first we got the Imperium Guard Commander. These are, in essence, the elite guard of the Imperium, though in reality they're just a slightly stronger mook in terms of the TV show. Starting from the hat, he wears a really neat looking piece that looks like a combination of Liang, Mao, and a cooking pot with a sort of minor helmet type stud that you can put something on. Overall, it's a neat piece that I hope gets used more. Though I do think that there is a lack of a stud on top, makes it a little odd, but still kind of neat. Going to the head, he has a single reddish eye that honestly kind of makes him look like plankton, but angry. It is surrounded by a lot of golden markings, and as you can expect, given that the back of the head is not covered up, there is no alternative face as it's exposed. But it has some good armor printing on the back, though. I didn't really expect that. Overall, pretty good for a mook. Going down, we see there is this good bulky armor, which in this case I think actually works since they're meant to be sort of these Imperium style, like heavily armored things, which has some really good pauldron design and a back stud that you can attach something to. Overall, I think it's a good piece that I hope gets made into many more colors. Going down from there, he has this beautiful golden armor, which is highly detailed with a bunch of different shades and shiny gold. It honestly kind of looks like a face, if I'm being honest. The back printing is a little simpler, but looks great, even if it's not always visible due to being covered partially by the armor. The arms are gold and the hands are black. Perfectly fine, if not anything to write home about. The legs are black, with some really good knee pads and other design aspects. In terms of weaponry, he wields a massive claw staff with a pair of golden pieces that can be articulated in several different ways to hold something. Honestly, it's pretty neat in terms of a weapon. Definitely the most unique one in this set, at the very least. Overall, it's a good figure, both being able to function as a foot soldier or a higher ranking mook, depending on how many you have. Speaking of mooks, this is the case for our next figure, the Claw Hunter, effectively the clone trooper of the Imperium. Starting with the head, he has this really neat helmet that is really distinctive piece that, thanks to the horns, chin guard, and frill, really look like either a ceratopsian or some type of scarab beetle. The Claw General also used this piece, but in black, and honestly, I do love seeing it in gold, and I hope it gets used in more colors as well, like gray or silver, though that seems unlikely, to be honest. The face print is that same four-eyed, vaguely Predator-esque design seen in the Claw Commander. It's a fine usage, though it does kind of remind me of like the 2010s generic shooter enemy design. There's no alternative face, instead using the same back armor head print seen in the previous figure. Going to the armor, it's the same piece as last time, but in gold, which it's always nice to see a piece in multiple colors. Going down from there, we see a torso print that is extremely detailed and looks good thanks to the very shiny printing and tons of little details. The back printing is good too, even if I have to admit I don't have much to say about it. Going to the legs, they are golden and have also good printing. His arms are black with golden hands, perfectly fine as well, even if there's not much to say about it. Going to his weaponry, he has a very neat sword piece that looks amazing and has a real Tron/Warhammer vibe to it. Another great army builder and mook for the collection. Now that we've covered the figures, let us go to the sticker sheets and pieces. The sticker sheet has some very good ones. Well, yes, you can leave them off, especially for the small bad guy vehicles. I don't think it's a good idea for the larger vehicles. It comes off unfinished, so I wouldn't, but it's up to you, really. The pieces have a nice, good selection with a lot of nice teal pieces, a lot of cool slopes. There are these two blue variants of the Dragon Cores, which are the collectibles of this wave and are basically marbles. I also like the huge translucent ice pieces that really feel like they would work great for like CCBS mocks. He also has these translucent 1x2 red pieces that I think are kind of cool as well. Overall, I think that the piece selection here has a bunch of good stuff. But what about what these pieces build? Is that any good? Well, let's start with the small stuff and work our way up, shall we? First, there's this little drone dude for the Imperium, which has some really neat blade arms that can be rotated around in a limited form of articulation. He has a cycloptic head with a pair of antennas that, much like the arms, can be rotated around. Honestly, it's pretty adorable. It uses a neat parts usage to give it a solid base that also will wobble around a little bit without falling over completely. It's a cute little dude and another good army builder if you want more of this Imperium knockoff army. Then there are these set of two identical hoverboards slash hover drones. Starting from the top, there's a place where a figure can stand, such as, say, a claw hunter. It also has a really unneeded sticker, though it does look neat. You can slightly alter the positions of the wings if you want to add increased variation between the two, and the back uses translucent orange pieces to form an engine. It is set upon a large translucent orange base and utilizes a rotating piece that allows it to spin around for increased fun and posing capabilities. They're neat, but not really all that memorable, even compared to the drone. Now let's go on to the main attraction, Zane's Spinjitzu race car. Starting from the front, it has a really excellent shaping thanks to the utilization of swords as well as slopes and pieces of these really neat ice things that I talked about earlier, as well as these golden guns for recreating a hood ornament. The front wheels are small and made out of a hard plastic, which don't always spin that well, but that's usually understandable. Going to the middle of the car, it has a seat where Zane can sit on. It looks very comfortable as it utilizes a lot of tan pieces and a game controller that it uses as a steering wheel. The orbs are held to each of the side, which are interesting, though they seem kind of tacked on and play a part in the set's function. Going to the back of the car, we see a pair of larger wheels which have these golden cones to help them stay in place. They often work a lot better than the front ones due to being softer. The back of the car has a really powerful engine, yet remains hydrodynamic looking thanks to the usages of slopes and stickers that make it seem like a race car, which is fitting. So does this spoiler that you can push down and allows you to have access to the function of the set. You see, it allows you to raise and lower the wheels, allowing you to use the orbs to spin. Personally, it's fine as a gimmick, but it doesn't seem all that prominent or noticeable at all times, and sometimes it doesn't really work all that well. The spoiler looks neat though, and even if it doesn't necessarily function all that best, I think that it still works as a car. The back has a golden exhaust port and a little fin that can be ratcheted up and down. It doesn't look the best from the bottom, but you rarely see that, and that's understandable. So now let's discuss my overall thoughts on this set. Well, the minifigures are overall great. Zane and Cole are great interpretations of the classic ninja, and the two Imperium soldiers, the Claw Hunter especially, both serve as great mooks and useful for army building. The three antagonist side builds are admittedly kind of small, but they're neat enough, even if they're not the most memorable. I thought the drone in particular was rather good as a mook, and even the hover bikes could, I think, function as either vehicles or standalone mooks in their own right. They do look like they're controlled by something. And the main build is really charming. Even if the gimmick is not the best, I think it's still a solid design. And, even if the gimmick is admittedly not always working right, it still works as a car, so you didn't really lose much. Overall, I would say that this set was really good. I think It's definitely a great set to buy if you have any friends or family members who like Legos. And it's not too expensive either. Anyway, I'm the Dark Master, and if you liked this video, liked it, and if you loved it, consider subscribing and sharing it around. Join me next time on my LEGO reviews where I review some more LEGOs, and take care and have a wonderful day.